Let's begin with inflation because it ended the year 2021 with a double-digit rate as December inflation hit 12.6%. Now, this is a 0.4% higher than what was recorded in November. According to the Ghana Statistical Service, the surge in inflation was driven by an increase in non-food inflation rate. Also, prices of goods and services went up by 1.2% between November and December last year. Here's the government statistician, Professor Samuel Kopena-Eneng, explaining what exactly entered into this figure.
We narrowed down on the region with the highest inflation, that is the Upper West region. As was indicated, the Upper West region had the highest year-on-year inflation of 31.1%, and had the highest inflation of 18.6%, with food and non-alcoholic beverages recording the highest inflation of 31.1%. It should be emphasized that from a weight perspective, in the Upper West region, food and non-alcoholic beverages has the highest weight of 0.7%. Narrowing down on food inflation for the Upper West region, we saw vegetables within the food category recording the highest inflation rate of 47.1%, culminating in a food inflation of 31.1%. Highlights of December 2021 Consumer Price Index and rate of inflation. On a year-on-year basis, that is between December 2021 and between December 2020 and December 2021, overall inflation stood at 12.6%. This literally means that prices of goods and services have gone up by 12.6% between December 2020 and December 2021. This is the sixth consecutive month in a row that prices of goods and services have gone up, indicating a 4.8% difference between the rate recorded in June 2021, which was 7.8%, relative to December 2021, 12.6%. On a month-on-month basis between November 2021 and December 2021, prices of goods and services went up by 1.2%. The gap between food and non-food inflation has been narrowed for the month of December 2021 to a gap of 0.3 percentage point, as food inflation stood at 12.8 relative to 12.5 for non-food inflation. We observe parity between food and non-food inflation on a monthly basis, as both categories recorded inflation of 1.2%. Three categories recorded inflation figures higher than the national average of 12.6, with housing and transport leading the divisions with the highest rate of inflation, specifically with housing, water, electricity, and gas 20.7%, and transport, which includes fuel, 17.6%. The third category, or the third division that had the highest rate of inflation higher than the national average, was food and non-alcoholic beverages, which stood at 12.8%. The contribution of food and non-alcoholic beverages for the month of December 2021 shrank by 2.9%, as its contribution reduced from 47.7% in the month of November 2021 to 45.2% in the month of December 2021. Locally produced items continue to dominate imported items, specifically with locally produced items being 13.1% and imported items being 10.5%. Inflation rates for Upper West region continue to be the highest with 18.6%, and Eastern region has the lowest inflation of 7.4%.
We'll still stay with inflation because the Upper West region maintained its dominance as the region with the highest rate of inflation in December, whilst the Eastern region recorded the lowest rate of inflation. Well, to other stories, Ghana has in a 2021 World Cryptocurrency Index been ranked 4th in Africa for increased peer-to-peer cryptocurrency transactions to the tune of $3 million. Now, a report by blockchain company AAA shows that close to 1 million Ghanaians, exactly 900,000, owned a cryptocurrency in 2021 alone. The report attributes the surge in Ghana's crypto volumes to the country's tacit endorsement of cryptocurrency. For instance, the report points to the Central Bank of Ghana's launch of a regulatory sandbox that prioritizes blockchain-based companies, including cryptocurrency startups, as one factor that may have boosted the country's volumes. Well, let's pull up details of this particular, ranking, where we get the impression that Ghana ranked 4th, in Africa, with Nigeria and Morocco leading value of peer-to-peer crypto transactions by 3 million in 2021. That's for Ghana alone. And of course, Ghana's surge linked to a tacit endorsement by, the central bank when it comes to matters regarding cryptocurrency, and close to 1 million Ghanaians owning cryptocurrency by 2021. The most interesting part is that Nigeria tops Africa with $11 million worth of peer-to-peer transactions in 2021. This comes amid stiffer opposition by various governments in Africa when it comes to matters regarding trading in cryptocurrency. Let's bring in research and development economist based in Nigeria, Gospel Obele. He's been doing extensive research on blockchain and cryptocurrency in Africa. Of course, welcome to the program. Not surprised to see Nigeria lead Africa in peer-to-peer crypto transactions, but what does the data in Ghana show you? Close to 1 million crypto owners in Ghana in 2021 alone.
Yeah, thank you very much, Charles, for having me. So I think this is relatively consistent in Africa and not just in Nigeria or Ghana. All right, that's to tell you that Africans are a strong believer of the next wave of technological disruption. All right, in financial payment services and likes. And I'm talking about the cryptocurrency here. And also, when you extend that a bit more, look at our technology as a whole, we're already a continent that does a lot of transactions and engagement, startups, solutions to social problems in that regard. But when it comes to payments, it's a huge opportunity in the sense, and we find a lot of young people jumping into that pool, as it were, as sort of like the next hope to secure some basic, not just financial independence or aspirations in a sense, but also as a plan B to the growing economic instability in many of the African regions in the sense, yeah.
But of course, we are also seeing Nigeria and Ghana race to adopt a central bank digital currency, as well as look to ride the wave of popularity on cryptos. Of course, West Africa's two largest economies there. But how best can a centralized digital currency complement a decentralized crypto market?
Yeah, it's quite a very interesting dynamics in a sense. I mean, first and foremost, what we're seeing is there's a form of haste, all right, in launching out on the digital currencies, especially by West African economies, and that's because of from the body language and the same from the central bank leads. That's because of the need to control, all right, the financial systems and e-payments / transactions development space. And let's not forget that the idea of digital currencies and cryptocurrencies run on one simple technology, which is blockchain. Okay, so the efforts have been seen to control and take over that space, all right, sort of like man that space way before, all right, quote unquote, crypto get out of hand. But like you said, they both contrast in terms of how it's structured and how it's being deployed. So cryptocurrencies are a much more decentralized market in terms of somebody in Nigeria can be engaged with somebody in Ghana, and there are no borders to that market. It's a bit of a dark market because you can't trace who's doing what. All right, you have a lot of monies locked in volumes in single transactions as well. And these are bigger reasons or bigger questions that the digital currencies will not seek to solve. And let's not forget also that digital currencies are a reflection of the fiat currency value already. All right. They really do not hold any major difference except the fact that it's a lot more digital, and then rolling out digital currency, sort of helps the aspirations towards financial inclusion on the continent. Right. But that financial inclusion is also a function of the level of how much that is linked to digital literacy and a comprehensive digital plan / savviness. So cryptocurrency already sort of decentralized all that barrier to market entry, especially across borders, and it's one reason why you see a huge penetration for young people who have stronger financial independence aspirations for their future when compared to a centralized CBN-driven model for e-currencies, digital currency management in a sense.
Indeed, having to see over 1 million new cryptocurrency owners in Ghana alone. But, how much of a threat is the launch of a digital currency in Ghana and Nigeria to hopes, for a West African single currency?
Yeah, it's a threat in a sense because the big question is, first and foremost, the launch of a single currency in Africa. I mean, what would it be, a fiat currency? Or are we going to go all right digital? Or are we going to go fiat first and then adopt digital? And we know when it comes to matters concerning working together as a region, especially on intricate conversations such as currencies management or having a single regional currency, it's going to be a very long shot. And there are for many reasons. Number one, the current monetary/financial system structures in different, the current monetary and financial systems reality in different African markets differs, all right? And the nuances are really, really on a different level. Central banks also contribute differently to the development of the monetary system, from a comprehensive standpoint now, in the continent. And that may affect the level of alignment, the level of decision-making, and ability to come up with a single regional currency. So I don't see this initiative. Not forgetting that cryptocurrencies are largely technologically driven, all right? And we're seeing the huge numbers of both daily transactions, peer-to-peer growth, and some of commitments, all right, by Africans in that market. So it's going to be a very, very tough call, all right? And we've not seen so much of improvement in the AfCFTA. I wonder if we'll see a lot of improvement in having a single currency in the African market when you compare that to the technologically disrupted crypto markets in the sense and level of patronage as well later.
In Africa, we're looking at close to $11 billion in 2021 in peer-to-peer transactions in crypto alone. Where do we see the prospect of crypto in Ghana specifically by the end of the year?
Well, it's likely going to rise. It's also going to rise because of many, many other conversations. I mean, like never before, we live in a very VUCA environment, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And for African countries, it's a lot more, if there's a suffix for that, right, it's a much more nuanced, even you think about the complexities as it were. So a lot of young people are beginning to own up to taking more responsibilities for their future. And whether good or bad, whether right or wrong, however you want to look around that conversation, that is what's also informing the desire and the strong patronage or affiliations to the cryptocurrency market. So the outlook is that it would likely increase in 2022, knowing fully well again that inflation is on the rise, which will also keep hampering on the value of the Nigerian naira and the CD and all of that. All right, and individuals will be seeking for more creative ways to lock in their investments, all right, to sort of like hedge the risk against currency devaluations or loss of productivity, as it were, in terms of returns, interest returns in the future. So crypto makes sense in terms of argument for hedging risk, argument for securing your financial future, and the fact that it's across borders and sort of like hidden identities across the trading platforms and systems. All right, so the outlook is actually very positive. The big question is if Africa as a continent will be able to, all right, engage necessary R&D practice to understand how the system works and look for creative ways to build regulatory practices around it. Not to fight the system with your own digital currency, because there are already internal structures that are misaligned enough, all right, to make that project almost a dead on arrival.
Gospel Obele, we're grateful that you could join us. He's a research and development economist joining us all the way from Nigeria, especially when Ghana has been ranked 4th in Africa for peer-to-peer crypto transactions as in 2021. Well, you're still watching The Marketplace. We're having a short break, but before that, a generation of bread makers will bring you the story of a family of entrepreneurs chronicling 100 years in bread business.
The idea of this soul leaf bread started way back 100 years ago, a couple of hundred years ago, and then it started from my great-great-grandmother.
Hello and welcome back to the program. Now, baking bread has become a popular pastime and a business for people at home and beyond. Bakers continue to try their hands on fragrant bread, which comes with more health benefits. Joy Business James Ishan visited a family of entrepreneurs who are into bread baking. Of course, they've been into this business for the past 100 years and has come through with this report.
Have you ever wondered how your favorite bread is being baked out there before coming to the market. Here in Jamestown, we visit a baker who uses leaves to bake his bread.
The idea of this soul leaf bread started way back 100 years ago, a couple of years ago, and then it started from my great grandmother, as you can see, because the time is very long. So they thought it wise to get a bread that the leaves were there. They were using it to sell rice and wache and other things, as you can see. So they thought it wise to fuse, like they were baking bread. So how would they use the leaf that is already in existence to bake their bread? So they thought it wise to put the bread in the leaves, straight in the leaves, then straight to the oven when the oven is hot. So that's how we do it. The bread is molded in round shapes, and then it's placed in the leaves like in 6 sets, and then it's placed in the oven. That's all.
Don't the leaves get burnt at a point or something?
Yeah, the leaves doesn't get burnt at all. It's burnt to some point. You can see it's burnt to some point. We have some in the oven that is already. It doesn't burn at all. It gets dried, and then the bread gets baked. That at times when the fire is too hot, the leaf will get burnt, but it will not burn it will burn the under part of the bread, but not the whole bread. We have improvised the way we mold our bread on the leaves. As you can see, the size and the shape of the leaf. We mold the bread in circular shapes, and then we place it on the leaves. So basically, when we are starting the leaves bread, this one is tea bread. Basically, when you are starting the leaves bread, you first clean the leaves for hygiene's sake, so that it will be very clean, and then secondly, you cut the bread in circular shapes. So the molder here is going to mold the bread in circular shapes. So since it's the leaf, if it's in circular shapes, when you put the leaf down like this, you add both of them, so it will stick to each other. So that's how we place the bread in the leaf. So it can be in the 100s and the 200s. They are all like this. So another one, and then the third one will be like this.
Where do you get these leaves from?
These leaves, we get it from the market, but I was told they usually come. We have a greater part of it coming from Togo and Cote d'Ivoire. That's where we get most of the leaves from. But some are also found in Ghana, but we don't have much quantity found in Ghana, because right now some restaurants use the leaves for serving their foods.
You'll be taking me through how you guys from the molding to other processes and all, but I would want to speak to your mom. It's a time when we started our person we be BT sir.
Me ankasa de me start say me ye adwuma ne de me fan say be 20 years ni. By now you know.
I've been baking bread with leaves for the past 20 years. My grandparents introduced me to it. Baking bread with leaves is healthy. That's why they opted for this.
Brodo nimti omo brodo no almost start ye no. Omo anfa chemicals bia to say incense ni ade no. Omo anfa bia mu.
The leaves give the bread some nice flavor. The feedback from the market has been very positive over the years. The workers are paid with the money we make out of baking the bread. I bake sugar, tea, and brown bread.
Flavor for my workers betting. I'm in your year, Juma. Because I'm a baby and run Yatuna no pay. And a real so no anopen so yes I bobby I betu na nwumre so nti workers dey ebi wo hono mo a omo fitting ene omo ede ba ene omo bo ene omo tu ene ade nyina nti at least eno mu na ye di tu omo ka omo a obi a wo ye ho adwuma bia eno amu ni yedi tu omka me ye brown bread me ye tea bread ansa na my ahabemu so de no but ahabemu de na nkasa na ye brudo a ye sheda ye wa ha pa but also be beba no beka so enu de me pe sugar nti wo se wutimi ye sugar wo se wutimi ye brown bread wo se wutimi se na be ye obi ba ne a openi nyina no obetimi enye bi etu akora.
So if it's proof like this and your fire is ready like this one, since it's in the leaves, it needs to be taken with care. When you are taking it out of the carrier, it needs to be taken with care, because when you shake it, the proof dough will like, I don't like the shape you want to get. You won't get that shape, so you move from the distance with care. Just soft like this, and then it's placed on your loader like this, and then placed into the oven like this. So we are now taking it out of the oven. As I said, it took about 20 to 25 minutes to get well baked. So we are now taking it out of the oven. So this is the process how we take it out of the oven. So it's being taken out one by one, like the way I loaded it. So as you can see, with the fire, see how it looks like.
My friend introduced me to this leaf bread. I must say that is very good. Even though the profit is not enough, demand for the bread is high.
So it's exactly 7 a.m. and my breakfast is ready. Catch you at the other side of the board. For Joy Business, James Ishen.
Well, and from the bakery, we end this edition of The Marketplace. I'm Charles Aite. For more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. Many thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of our programs.